And my name is Sonja Ohlsson, and I will be moderating this session with you all. I'm from the Brahma Kumaris Environment Initiative. And a warm welcome to all of you sitting in the room, a welcome to all of you online, and special welcome to our panelists, which I will introduce later. We have gathered here to commemorate the original UN Conference on Human Environment in 1972, when the world leaders gathered to discuss the degrading climate change that had started at that time. And we also gathered here in Stockholm this year to commit to action, because we are facing a triple crisis of loss of biodiversity, climate change, and pollution. And in preparation for this conference, I've seen the videos from 1972, and it's very interesting. You see the old Volvos driving, and you see Olof Palme speaking, and the only prime minister that came from abroad was Indira Gandhi from India. And she gave a very powerful statement, and I will quote her here. She said, "It's clear that the environment crisis that is confronting the world will profoundly alter the future destiny of our planet. No one, independent of status and nationality, will remain unaffected." And now, 50 years later, it has all come true, where none of us are unaffected, and it has altered the future of the planet. We're on the edge of a collapse, actually. She also said, even though the meetings fail, we must never give up to meet, because it's only when we meet, we will find a way together out of it. And today, I've been in the opening of the Stockholm Plus 50 conference and sitting in the plenary, hearing all the delegates and distinguished guests speaking, and everyone comes back to the same problem. We need to work together, we need to collaborate, we need to trust each other to make progress. And just before coming here, I spoke to a colleague of mine in Copenhagen. We started Brahma Kumaris Environment Initiative together in 2008. Bettina, she's a graduate engineer, but she works as a process facilitator and project management. And she said to me, very early on, I realized that 20% was about technical solutions, 80% of my time and my skills is only to facilitate a bad process to reach a goal, to try to make communication happen between various stakeholders. 80% of my time is used in people with various needs and desires and values and try to work with that. And I think if we enlarge her experience with organizations, we can maybe say it is the same that's happening right now when we talk about the future of the world. It's about process and communication. And today, the two speakers I have with me, I think that they would say the same. It's not about technical solutions and science alone. It's about what happens in the inside of us, how we come to a decision. So our two speakers, Wernstedt from Inner Development Goals and Golo from Brahma Kumaris, they will have 10 minutes each and do their presentation. Then we'll have a conversation together, and then time for questions and answers from all of you in the room and those online. And then we end today's event with a guided meditation by Lotta Arbman from Spirit of Humanity Forum. So I will start by introducing you, Michael. Michael Wernstedt is a social entrepreneur and a former lawyer. And you have a background with Raoul Wallenberg Academy and in the political party, which is new to me, the Initiative. But today, Michael is a Chief Operating Officer with the Inner Development Goal organization, which has become very successful in recent times. But you also work with the EU project that focuses on the future of democracy in Europe. So welcome, Michael, and I give the floor to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Great to be with you here present and also online. Yes, so the inner development goals really started from a frustration that we're not making the progress that we want to make towards the SDGs. And I think we all have had that moment where we've been in despair. For me, that came in 2018. I had up until then been quite hopeful that if we just worked hard enough, we were going to turn this around. But in 2018, I was just overwhelmed with the amount of knowledge and theory and evidence that we are actually closer to a collapse than a nice, smooth transition. So then the question was, okay, what do we need? We have the resources that we need to do this. We have I heard Jim Carrey today say that with only the technology we have today, if we would apply it, we could cut our emissions by 45% globally. So we have the technique we need to do at least what we need to do until 2030. So why are we not doing it? And what we came to is that we are lacking actually the motivation to do what needs to be done, and actually the skills to take the decisions we need to take and get people on board on that. Jean-Claude Juncker, the former head of the EU Commission, he said that we politicians, we know what needs to be done, we just don't know how to be re-elected once we've done it. And I think that's actually at the core of the problem. So this sparked an idea in my colleagues and the initiator of the inner development goals. What if we can make the same journey as we've done with the sustainable development goals as with the inner qualities that we have to develop? And obviously with the sustainable development goals, it is vastly complex questions we're talking about. Yet they have been very successful in communicating this in a simple and graspable way. So we thought, can we do the same with the inner development goals? Can we take the very, very complex inner qualities that many religions and philosophies has been dealing with for centuries and millennia and make them easy to understand and accessible to everyone? And we did that by doing a survey. So we posed this question: what capabilities, qualities, or skills do you believe are essential to develop individually and collectively in order to get us significantly closer to fulfilling the global goals? And we posed these questions over 1,000 people. Our hunch was to get this really recognized, it needs to be in the paradigm we're in, it needs to be firmly based in science. So we had scientists from Gothenburg University, from Stockholm University, Lund, and later also Harvard. And we had over 1,000 people engaged in this. It was HR experts, scientists, and also the general public. And out came 23 qualities. And I will come back to what qualities these are. And then we, our thought was, okay, how do we get this really broadly adapted? What are the entities that has the skill or has the resources to get this out broadly? And we thought it's the state and it is companies that has big budgets for development. And of course, everybody knows and everybody agree that we need to develop as youth. That's why we have education, we have schools, we have universities. But once you pass roughly 25, there is no real avenue for continued development. Yet I think all of us know that we continue to develop. And it's been a lot of research done on that for the last 50, 60 years. But no one is saying, okay, I am responsible for the development as adults. So we thought this is what the states need to do, and this is where the companies also need to step in. So since 2 years when we started, these are the partner organizations we have, universities then that has helped us with the research. Stockholm University, Stockholm School of Economics, Karolinska Institute, Lund University, Harvard, and Erasmus University. And now actually almost the newest university is also the University of Paris. And then it's the partner companies that has taken this into their organizations. So I think you recognize many of these companies: IKEA, Spotify, Ericsson. Google is actually not here; it's one of our most recent partners. And then we develop in 3 stages. So the first stage was to develop this framework. The second stage is if we at least know what the how, what the what is, we know the 23 skills, then what is the how? So now we are developing a toolkit with methods that are also based in research that can help us to train these skills, because all these skills can be trained. And then the third stage, which we'll enter in the fall, is to say, how can we take this global? How can we take this abroad to countries, to other continents, and both to validate the framework, to see, because we know now we have a bias towards the Scandinavia and towards the West. So I can really learn from all corners of the earth to do a bigger study, to do a new framework, and also to validate the link between the inner development goals and the sustainable development goals, so that we can show that if you train your empathy, your inner compass, and so on, you will actually work more effectively towards sustainable development goals. So more research to be done there. And then also to take it to countries. And actually, Costa Rica was the first country that in December said that we will adopt inner development goals in all our national policies. And now many countries are almost over the fence. Zambia and Rwanda and Greece, I would say, is the ones closest to jump on board. But we're talking to about 25 countries who wants to take this on board. So this is a bit of background about the initiative. And now I will not be so abstract anymore. Now I will actually dive into what is the framework that we're talking about. So this is the 23 skills that we have, or the researchers have said that is necessary for us to develop in order to get us significantly closer to the global goals. And we have them in 5 categories. So it's being, the relationship to yourself. It's thinking, cognitive skills. It's relating, the relationship to others. Collaborating, so how we work together. And then acting, how do we drive change? And if I have 10 minutes, I can do a 3-day workshop on this, dig into this and do trainings and everything. But I guess I just have a few minutes left, so I will just say something about each category. So in being, we have inner compass, obviously very important to actually follow what you believe is true. Integrity and authenticity, learning mindset, self-awareness. If I say something about that, one of our academic partners, Robert Keegan, he says that the ability to be able to take a step outside of yourself and see yourself from the outside is probably the most important skill for you to grow. If I'm very angry, I can just be owned by that anger, or I can actually step outside myself and say, okay, I'm feeling anger. It is not the anger that has me, but I have the anger. And then I can see, okay, why am I angry? And you can work with it. What triggered me? And then presence, of course, is so important to be here and now. And I think when we are present, we know that something magical happens. And then thinking, which I think in this time and age proves very important. Critical thinking, obviously, in this post-true era that we are in. Understanding complexity, understanding different perspectives. And interesting here is that people who are very good at understanding many different perspectives and taking many perspectives themselves are very bad at seeking different perspectives, because they think, I am so good at taking perspectives, so I don't need to seek other perspectives. So, but we need both of them, obviously, to seek perspectives and be able to take different perspectives. Sense making, and then long-term orientation and visioning. And here, Otto Scharmer, another one of our academic partners, he says that this is probably the most important one. We are making progress towards the SDGs, towards sustainable world, until we hit the crisis. And then we start to focus on the short term and problem solve. and we lose focus on what's the longer term goal. And these crises come more and more frequent, from 9/11 to financial crisis to the pandemic to now the Ukraine war. And it's a perfect example. Now the Swedish aid agency has now redirected its aid from other crises in the world to Ukraine, and we need lots of resources for Ukraine. But I think it's just a matter of time where new crises will pop up because they have been neglected, because we have been short-sighted. Relating then, and I think this is probably, in my mind, the most important. Jan Eliasson, the Swedish diplomat, says, without passion, nothing happens, but without compassion, the wrong things happens. And compassion and empathy is obviously really at the core. And humility, once we are able to be humble, it's just easy to hang out. People open up. Connectedness, I think, in all spiritual practice, that is what I see. When we start to feel that we are one. I am one with you, I am one with the planet. And appreciation, it shows that an organization that has joy and appreciation can almost thrive regardless of the environment. And once the joy and appreciation dies, the organization dies as well. Then we have collaboration. Here we have communication skills, co-creation skills, inclusive mindset, trust. Google did a big study to show that what is the most effective team, and it's just as long as you have trust, it will be the most effective team. And interesting, the headmaster of Stockholm School of Economics, he says that the future CFO will not, or the best CFO in the future will not be the one that is best on analyzing data, but the one that can actually collect data by interacting with different cultures. So inclusive mindset, and then mobilization skills. Then we have acting, courage, obviously, to be able to follow your inner compass from being, creativity, to be able to think outside the box, optimism, and then resilience, because we will hit resistance or perseverance. We will hit resistance, so how can we continue even when we do that? So that's really a crash course in the Inner Development Goals framework, and we'll leave it for there. Looking forward to talk about this more in the panel. So thank you for now.
Thank you very much, Michael. It was a crash course. It's good to get the introduction to the 23 qualities, and we will talk about more about that later. So now I invite Golo Pilz to come here. Golo has been with the Brahma Kumaris as a meditation teacher for more than 35 years. And he lives half of the time in India in our headquarters and half of the time in Germany. And since the early 90s, he has played a key role in establishing Brahma Kumaris as one of the biggest single users of renewable energy in India, and has been part of a team constructing India 1 megawatt solar thermal power plant together with the Indian and German government. And Golo also goes with the Brahma Kumaris delegation to the various climate change conferences for many years and advocates values-based approach. So welcome, Golo.
Yeah, good evening, everybody, and thank you very much, Sonja, for the introduction, and Michael for sharing very interesting points. And I hope I can relate what you said in a different way, in the Indian perspective. I just came a week ago from India, and I'm still not fully here in the cold climate. So today's topic is a shift in mindset and creates a sustainable development. And yes, we need sustainable development because our planet is in trouble. Today, we've seen a presentation by Professor Rockström from the Climate Institute in Potsdam. And it was very, very clearly, if we don't act soon and decisively and bring change, we sort of go into a hothouse Earth, which is very, very difficult, 3.5-degree temperature rise, and a very, very difficult situation for the planet. So we really have to do something. And yeah, we have to change our lifestyle, and how to change the trend. That's the big question. So we have to become an angel and a healer. I'm coming from the Indian tradition, from the yogi tradition. So the first thing is to bring the change on the inside, because the inside is connected to the outside. And if I imbibe values and ethics, I become a better person and my actions will become better. So become an angel and a healer to heal the planet. Then raise awareness and consciousness. That's what we're doing with this presentation, but also participating in conference. Drastic change in lifestyle, reduction of our carbon footprint, and use of renewable energies. So let us go straight away into the topic. Very, very important at the beginning, we have to stay optimistic. Let me share with you the Indian concept of the cycle of time. In India, we believe we're in a transition period and something good will come in the future, so nothing to worry. So we have to stay optimistic, because optimism is the foundation for all of us to work together, stay happy, stay cheerful, have a smile on the face, very, very important. Now coming to the point how to heal yourself and heal then the world, because first you have to work on yourself, then you can go outside. And I would like to share with you about Dari Janki. She was until 2 years ago, she passed away 2 years ago. She was the head of the Brahma Kumaris and a very, very experienced meditation teacher, a yogini. She reached the age of 103. And I was very lucky. I was knowing her for 38 years, and she was a great, great, great inspiration. And she always encouraged us to move ahead and to perform meditation or yoga. And you see here, she always inspired us to be compassionate, be a healer for the world, and be a light also to the world, you know. And that was always her concept and her idea. And then she was teaching us about meditation, how to move forward. And she was always saying, if you meditate regular, you will change on the inside and everything will become good. And this also corresponds with the latest scientific finding. There's a lot of studies on meditation. And if you meditate regular, then actually it increases your social competence and it deepens relaxation, improves your health. But very, very important, it increases your brain cells and activity, changes your neuronal setup, and changes habits and awareness. And that's the most complicated thing, how to bring people to change their lifestyle. This is the big question. So meditation is one of the most powerful tools actually to achieve that, to bring a lasting change on your habits. And we all have to change our habits. We all know what we have to do, but we're not able to do it. So meditation is a very powerful tool to achieve that. And therefore, we also have introduced a project called Yogis for Future. We uploaded meditation commentaries. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And we invite like-minded people to meditate regular and change on the inside and change the world. And we're on all platforms, and we're getting acquainted with social medias and having luckily some friends which are doing some posts and all this kind of things, because apparently that's necessary nowadays to reach out to the people. Very nice project. And there is the interesting world of quantum physics, and our thoughts actually have a very profound impact into the world. You might heard about this double slit experiment, and what they found out is when you observe the experiment, you change the outcome of the experiment. If you observe it, light behaves like a particle, and if you look somewhere else, light behaves like a wave. So we are connected to the world outside. We have a real impact. And I would like to share with you some projects we are doing. Our thoughts and visions actually create reality. And we have looked a lot into our visionary ideas, you know, what we visualize and what we imagine. Because if we create a beautiful world in our mind and we visualize that, it becomes reality after some time, because our thoughts, our dreams have the tendency to become real. So we imagine a world of peace, love, harmony, beauty, purity, bliss, prosperity, happiness, kindness, and justice. The perfect world. And interestingly, all over the world, in all countries, you have worked for that. In India, it's called Satyuga, the age of truth. The Greek called it the golden age, and here we call it the paradise. So it's everywhere. And this is the world we have to create in our mind and make that vision strong, because our thoughts become reality. And So it starts with the self. We have to start thinking positive about ourselves, think positive about others, and think positive about meditation. Share blessings and share the lights with the self and with others. And a practical project we are doing, this is called Sustainable Yogic Farming. It's a project we have done in India with more than 5,000 farmers. And actually what we did is we teach them meditation and meditate with the seeds and meditate with the field. I love you, you're very good, you will grow very nicely, no bugs will come. And I show you some results. You see, these are now carrots, for example, with the positive thoughts. Here you see the chemical carrots, a little bit small. Here, the one with yoga power, with good intention. And here, the organic ones. And you see the yogic ones are the biggest one and the most tasty, and no fertilizer required, and no bugs were going there. And the results were so good that the Indian government now wants to roll it out. The Indian government of agriculture wants to roll this project out. We also work together with the Agriculture University, and they got articles published also in the internet, in agriculture magazines. Here you see wheat with meditation and without meditation, and you see for yourself the difference. It's quite amazing, about 20 to 30% more output. So this is one practical project, but we also are a recognized solar research organization since the last 25 years and carry out research projects in many, many areas. Here's one of our retreat places near Delhi, and you can see the photovoltaic system there. It's a 400 kilowatt photovoltaic, but we have also here solar steam cooking system. And Brahma Kumaris is the biggest institutional user of renewable energy in India. We're one of the pioneers also of solar cooking systems. And here you can see a solar steam cooking system, which we built in Gyan Sarovar in Mount Abu, where is our headquarters. And this was built in 1997, and it's still working and functional. And here you can see our campus in Shantivan. You can see a solar cooker here. And here we are coming to a 1 megawatt solar thermal power station. It was a research project between German and Indian government. It was a 12 million euro project, and Brahma Kumaris was the project leader. And we developed new type of parabolic concentrators, and they concentrate the sunlight on the receiver. And the speciality is that we have thermal storage. We can run for 24 hours. We have done also many. Here you can see the whole solar field. We added here also photovoltaic. This is our workshop. So it's a quite big project running since the last 3 years successfully. And we do also training and seminars, try to raise the awareness and bring the good news to everybody. So we are quite active in these areas. And we also have set up a Brahma Kumaris environmental initiative where we go to the UN climate conference. I think the first one was in Copenhagen in 2009. Yeah, in 2009. And so since then we have seen all the conferences and many, many other conferences. We have seen a lot of papers and projects being done. And we're trying to bring the inner change to the conference. You change on the inside, and then you change the world. And we practically advise people the 5 R's: rethink before you buy and consume, reuse as much as possible, reduce your consumption as much as you can, recycle as much as possible, and reuse as much as possible. And if we would follow, I think we could make all a big impact in our consumeristic pattern, because still it's the West, which is sort of having the biggest carbon footprint. It's not India, it's not China per capita, it's us, which have the highest footprint right now. So, and we're going to the climate conference. This was a picture from the COP26. We had more than 30 programs, some of them online, some of them in person there. It was a bit of a difficult time. We had to do every day a corona test. And it was a very interesting time. We had a stand and exhibition, and we had many programs also. We are active in interreligious dialogue. So I'm coming now to the end. So I'm advocating a new paradigm. The inner world and the outer world are interconnected. And that's also the topic of our talk today. When I change my mindset, when I change on the inside, my actions become good, my vibration becomes good. And as we have seen, vibrations or the thought or the intention, also they reach out to the world and they really have an impact. They really can bring a change also. So meditation and a change of thoughts are cooling the mind, create a new reality and a better world. And if we all understand this principle, we share hands, we come together, we have unity, we see the world as one globe, I think we can bring a change, and we can see these problems we're facing right now, not as problems, but as a chance to change, to bring change in us and to bring change in the world. So thank you very much. Here, a couple of our web pages, what we're doing, you can have a look. And we will have now 30 seconds of a little reset for our podium discussion. So we will switch off for 30 seconds the sound. Kindly stay with us. We will soon start with our podium discussion. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much, Michael and Golo, for your presentations. And I had a few questions already, and I collected more of them. So I have prepared some questions for you to go a bit deeper. But if you feel like you want to comment on each other or ask each other questions, most welcome. It's like a free dialogue for half an hour.
Lovely. I just have to say, I love the meditation on the crops.
Yeah.
I think it's so fascinating to see it really physically, the difference.
Yeah.
That is amazing. I have a few friends who've done this rice experiment. You maybe know it when you have 3 buckets of rice. Once you don't do anything with, once you say, I hate you. 2 every day, 1 you say, I love you too.
Yeah, there is this water experiments also. And since about 40 years, there have been countless experiments in many of reputed universities about mind matter. And if you look it up, there's so many research papers how our mind very practically influence the environment around us.
Yeah.
It's quite amazing.
It is amazing. But I love that it's also like large scale, and the Indian government is picking it up.
Yeah.
And it's really happening. It's not just like a fun little experiment someone does at home.
It was quite some work, because we have to deal with farmers, so farmers have their own mindset, and to convince them of a new method, you have to be very gentle, very loving with them, and slowly, step by step, we got it done, and the results were really stunning. And we have a couple of friends who are doing that, and with organic food also, it's working quite nicely.
So I'm curious, how is your pot plants at home? Do you do that? Do you have nice pot plants at home, both of you?
I
do, but I can't take credit.
Someone else is doing it.
Someone else is doing it.
Yeah, I live in Rajasthan, and we have no rain, right now. So it's very difficult to grow something. And actually, we have to water our garden every day, because 8, 9, 10 months, there is not a single drop of rain, So the plants are quite survivors, that you can say. What survives in Mount Abu in Rajasthan, where I stay, is a really powerful plant.
So going back to the presentations, you presented us for 23 skills that Inner Development Goals have identified as essential for this work. Which one is your favorite?
I would say disconnectedness.
Disconnected.
When I feel connected, for me, it's a spiritual experience that I feel I'm part of something bigger. It's not about me. It's about us. It's about God. If you are inclined that way.
Mm.
And I just feel this immense peace. So I've been meditating for 25 years, and I think obviously you progress in your meditation. So now I quite often feel that at the end of the meditation, very, very connected. Yeah, for me, I just want to feel that feeling more. And also when I come from that feeling, I act from a totally different energy if we're speaking about energies. Yeah.
Do you have a personal story when connectedness had helped you or changed you or? Yeah.
I do have one. It's not one of those like profound stories, but for me, it's like it's a subtle feeling, and it's in the meditation. But I have one actually. I live in a suburb of Stockholm called Tyresö, and there is an old castle there, like a public owned by a museum. And on this castle, there's a big oak. One of those oaks, you have to be 4 people to encircle it. And it has an energy, this oak. And it's not just me. I actually met someone who said when I lived near to Tyresö castle, he said, it may sound funny, but I have sort of a relationship with that oak that's on the castle. So it has an amazing energy, that oak. And whenever I go out walking, I try to go down and I give it a hug, and sometimes I give it a kiss. And and then once when I gave it a kiss, I just felt like I was also a tree, and it was like branches growing from my back. And it was a fantastic feeling.
So we've all been to the conference today. You know how tired you can get after a whole day in the conference with lots of people talking and PowerPoints and energy. Maybe it would be good if all the delegates could go out and kiss your oak.
Yeah, that would be something.
Yeah. Golo, which value or quality do you think is most important for you personally in the work you're doing, both on renewable and with yourself?
Well, for me, very important. When I came first to India, of course, you see, I'm from Germany, you see the problems and you know the technology, and you want to fix things. At least I had the idea, why not introduce some technology and do things? And I was young, I was 24 when I came first time to India, and everything had to go fast, you know. You want to see some results, but I had to learn patience, you know, and humility. I would say that was the biggest challenge for me to go with the flow and go with the local speed, go with the people there, understand communication. You know, in India they say yes and make like that, and then actually it's no. And they shake the head like this, and you actually think, is it a yes or a no? The Indian may also not be 100% sure, or doesn't want to say yes or no, because in India you don't say yes or no straight away. So it took a couple of years to decipher the communication, and you need patience and adaptation, and meditation helped me so to stay on the path and pursue the projects, even if they took quite some time.
Do you have a personal story on how patients have helped you, for example?
Yeah, for example, this India One project, you know, it took us 8 years, and sometimes, you know, to work with the Indian government is a challenge, but to work with the German government is also a big challenge, because both are masters of bureaucracy, and the one likes this and the other doesn't like this and likes that. So you needed super patience, and sometimes we were waiting on material for 1.5 years, and in this 1.5 years you still have 200 workers or 300 workers, and you work on a multi-million-dollar project, and it has to progress, it has to go forward. So this was quite some challenge, and meditation actually helped me to balance that out and stay sane, you know, and stay whole in the whole process. And now, of course, in the aftermath, I can look with a bit of a smile, but it was quite a challenge. Yeah, I'm happy it's done and it's working.
Both of you have already now mentioned that you meditate. I mean, I know Golo do that, but you've also said you meditate now for many years. Do you want to share a little bit about your meditation practice, both of you? what you actually do when you meditate.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
I know you can give 1 hour lecture on this, but now it's just, a minute or two.
Yeah. So that's also been really a progression for me. I started with transcendental meditations. I had a mantra, and then I did mindfulness for a long time, just focusing on the breath. And then a few years ago, I felt like if I want to go further, I used all these headspace up and whatever they called. And if I want to go further, I think I had to adopt a real practice. So I started to pursue a Sufi path. And the Sufi practice is really taking from different religions everything that is good to cultivate the connection with the higher power. You can call it God, you can call it the universe, you can call it whatever you want, but I think the essence is that really connecting that connection and focusing on love and light. And there we do many different things, a lot of chanting actually, so saying mantras out loud. But also it can also be just looking at the flower and then closing your eyes and trying to see the flower in your inner, and then opening your eyes again and looking, and then closing your eyes and just resonate with it and try to connect with it. But then I would say actually that a bit of my practice is also journaling afterwards. I write down my vision and my mission, but then also what am I grateful for, and who can I surprise with a thank you or a gift today, and what would make this day fantastic. And I think if I say one thing, one thing that has helped me there is because I think when I get in this to-do mood, it's easy to get controlling and think that it has to be my way. And I also was when you said that about having patience, I had a Buddhist monk as a mentor, and he used to say this, leave a little space for miracles. And so that I write down every day, like, okay, today I should leave a little space for miracles. And I think reminding myself of that makes it easier to let go of control and having to have it my way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Yeah. Golo, how do you do? What do you practice?
Oh, well, I started 38 years ago, and initially one tries to come to terms with all the thoughts which are racing through your mind, and practice Raja Yoga meditation. And I get up usually at 4 o'clock in the morning, and it's like basically it's all about connecting to the divine light and absorbing peace, happiness, light, bliss, strength, and purity from the divine light, and sort of allow it to go through your body. And it takes a bit of time, because we are coming not out of that divine space, we're coming out of the world, and you're connecting to the divine light. So you need a bit of practice. And over the years, then slowly things have changed. And of course, I had many metamorphoses, and I died many times, many deaths you have in meditation, that you try to get rid of something negative and adopt something positive. And you have many ups and downs, but in the last years, it became more smooth. It became very joyful, and I don't want to miss it. I'm very happy I can stay in India at our headquarters quite often, not all the time. And they have very nice, powerful, charged meditation rooms there. So I can go there, I can meditate, and I connect to the divine light, and I connect to purity lately, to peace, and to love myself and to love others, and allow the love to go through me, allow the purity to go through me and go outside, and then go into a stage of stillness also, where I don't think too much about solar projects or the state of the world or so many concepts and ideas and things and this and that I'm still involved in. And and ultimately absorb strength also to deal with the world as it is right now, because living in this world is quite challenging. We're going to these conferences, we're traveling from here to there, and you are in a very fast world, in a very speedy world, and a world which is threatened by climate change, by war, by energy crisis. So many crises are around us, and to stay composed and peaceful is quite a challenge. So I'm using my meditation experience to sort of build up also that inner resilience and that inner strength to stay in this peaceful mindset the whole time.
So in your presentation, you talked about the importance of having a vision of the future we're going to, vision of the paradise, you said, of the new world. Can you share a few things, what you imagine when you visualize the future world of harmony?
Well, the planet is in a dramatic situation right now, and all the experts are agreeing. And now, of course, you can see that and absorb that, and you can react towards that and become yourself also a little bit agitated. Oh my God, all the trees are, in Germany, like, for example, 1/3 of the trees are getting brown and dying. It's just like, oops, the forest is dying, but not a little bit. It's like you drive from one place to the other, and there's a big brown spot, there's a big brown spot, and I'm a forest lover, I'm a tree lover, and you see these trees are just dying, and you think, oh my God, And so an art is not to get affected in a negative way by things what you see, or the suffering in the Ukraine war, or so many other wars, or in India now, for example, there has been the hottest spring on records, and 20 to 40% of the wheat harvest got spoiled, which is a catastrophe for India. And
so in visualizing the new world, which is opposite to what you described.
So the art is to not allow these things what you see to actually influence you in a negative way, but to stay above it and see, okay, that's part of the transformation, that's part of the challenge, and that's part of the message now for all of us to wake up and to change. So I'm trying to visualize a world which is beautiful, which is in harmony, a whole cosmos which is in harmony, basically, where everything is working like a beautiful clock, and we all are there, and we are all interacting in harmony and peace with each other. We all are pure. We're in a heightened stage of consciousness, and as I said, this is well known. This area in our history, in our lore, it's the paradise. In India, it's the Satyuga. The Greek called it the Golden Age. And I believe if everybody has this strong vision, the energy field will shift and will change, and we all are connected to the physical reality. Some scientists, meanwhile, say that the physical reality exists because we observe it, So our observation shapes all the time the world around us. So if we collectively start changing our observation and our mindset, we have a big impact, and we become change makers, and we can become creators, And so I'm trying to remind myself of this connection and try to stay in that mindset, and not getting sucked into all the problems which are everywhere and which are not getting less.
You described that very good in your presentation. You also said when there is a crisis, you go into short-term thinking, and then the problems amplify because you forget the long-term thinking. But Michael, how would you explain for the delegates in Stockholm Plus 50 conference how your meditation is benefiting the world?
Well, I think this is a very good picture. I come back to those plants, I think a picture can say more than 1,000 words, really, in that. But I actually have a very concrete example. When we started the political party that I was co-founder and party leader of, it was a value-based party. So we launched with 6 values and 3 challenges that we wanted to solve. But then we invite people to co-create the political content. So we want to do politics in a new way. And on our first workshop, we just did an experiment. It was called the prototype for a new political party back then. the workshop, and we said, okay, just imagine, everybody closed their eyes, and we did like a meditation, and then said, okay, imagine a world that is governed by compassion, courage, and openness. What would that world look like? And then we did like a visualization. How would it feel to wake up in the morning? How would it feel to prepare for wherever you're going to? What are you going to? And how do you interact with people when you meet them? And something just shifted in the room. You could feel really the energy shifting. And we had some interesting people that there were MPs, and there were and there was one of those MPs said, wow, you know, I just felt that in this world my job would be done. You know, I wouldn't have to be in parliament and, you know, fight for this better world. I could just relax and be. So I think it is very tangible when we are in that state. And I think a very helpful also reminder of that long-term thinking is this indigenous wisdom of thinking 7 generations ahead. When I take a decision, what will be the impact in 7 generations? And I think that makes us connect to something bigger than ourselves.
In your presentation, you also mentioned your moment of despair, which puts you to the path towards inner development goals, etc. What was it in you that came out of this despair into action? What was the process in you? What qualities helped you? How did you come out of the despair?
Yeah, so that's I think the best word I have for it is grief.
Grief.
For me, I had an idea of that, you know, the society we have, you know, can continue with the small alternations here and there, and I realized this is actually a fundamentally unsustainable path we are on. We're very dependent on fossil fuels, and it's very hard for us to change our economic system in a way that would save the biodiversity. So I think it was grieving the current political or current system we have, and I think accepting that this is, as you said, you know, when you're looking at the forests dying, you know, accepting that is happening, and I think through accepting that and sitting with that, and not, I think the instinct for me certainly, and I think for others, is just rush to, okay, what should we do then? But to actually stay with that, I think was key for me. And then slowly hope started springing up from that state of quiet stillness. And I think what helped me was, my thinking was always, okay, if there's going to be a collapse, what will come after it? What can we do now to prepare for what's coming after it? And then someone said, and obviously the same things will also be the same thing that can prevent the collapse. And I think then we became very, very hopeful to work for that.
Golo, have you had moments of despair?
Well, before I came in this, let's say, before I joined the Brahma Kumaris, I was 24 and I was searching for truth. And I tried a bit this and that and this and that, and I could feel I have to change my life. At that time was already in Germany something called Waldsterben, that was acid rain. And the Germans were all scared that the forests will die. That, imagine, that was in the 80s, in the early 80s. And so they were all like freaking out because there was acid rain and the forest was in threat. And in addition, there was a lot of tension because of the Cold War. Germany, West Germany was at the border with the East Germany, and we had a lot of missiles stationed in Germany, and in East Germany, missiles directing to West Germany. And they were short-range atomic nuclear missiles. And then in Germany was this political discussion, and then they rearmed and they increased the number of missiles. You know, I was young and we all thought that's a very crazy idea. So I had this feeling this is not going to end good, you know, with the nature, but also in terms of political situation. That was in the 80s. So there was some sort of despair, but it was also personal despair, because I could feel I have to change my life and I have to do something. So I started looking a bit for You know, I came very fast in contact with some spiritual this or that or this or that, but either they took too much money, they want a lot of money, or there were some other reasons why I was not interested. So I landed up with the Brahma Kumaris. It was administrated by women, which I like very much, and is still administrated by women. And they didn't ask for money, which was quite interesting and novel to me. And I like the idea that the new age is going to come and the transformation is going to come. This was already 35 years ago, and since then we can see how this transformation is coming. The pressure is coming, is more coming, and nature is now quite obviously rebelling against the exploitation by humans. But also the number of wars, the number of problems is increasing and mounting. We really can feel we have to change. Luckily, I have no more despair about it, because I see this as a process of transformation, you know, and as a chance for all of us to become change makers and to progress and reach a heightened awareness. So no more despair. But 35, 38 years ago, yes, this was a strong motivation also.
So you both done a lot of work of inner development and transformative processes. Which inner obstacle are you most proud of having conquered? Who wants to go first? I mean, what inner change are you most proud of, I can say, within yourself? If you need thinking time.
Well, I like very much that I became more relaxed.
Yeah.
You know, hardly anything nowadays sort of agitates me. Just a little bit today when this Zoom was not working properly, you know. So after half an hour, then slowly I got a bit edgy, and I thought this software. But I get more relaxed, and maybe this comes also with age, but I think it's also effect of meditation. I'm more resting in myself. I have more self-assurance, more self-esteem, and it's more fun to do things nowadays, you know. So, and I have the feeling I'm sort of moving through time and space in a different way, in a more aware state. You know, I realize more things, I see more things, I see the whole picture, and I like to have the overview. I like to see the past. What happened in the past creates the present, and the present creates the future. It's the philosophy of karma. In Christianity, we say what you reap, what you have sown in the past. And climate change is basically a boomerang which comes back over a long period of time. You know, the emissions of 150 years ago, and the yogi believes in reincarnation. So we believe we have been part, whatever happens also in the past, you know. And if you look in history, you can see an incredible amount of things which happen, good and bad, and everything comes up, you know, everything is in front of us and is asking for transformation, you know. And I like challenges also. So I like the total situation, and I actually appreciate it nowadays, you know. So it's been my change.
For me, it's a tough one. I think I like personal development, so I think I have done some stuff here. But take one thing, I think I am a bit kinder to myself and to others now than I used to be. I think I used to put a lot of pressure on myself in all areas of life. And then by that, I also put a lot of expectations on others. And I find since quite a few years, I've noticed that, I think we all know that the kinder we are to ourselves, the kinder we are to others. But I also noticed the kinder I am to others, the kinder I am to myself as well. So I think goes both directions. And I think ultimately that is a positive spiral for everyone. Yeah, so that I would say, if I would pick one thing, I think that is one. And I have a long way to go still.
So the questions are coming in here, so I thought we shift over to the questions soon. And also, if you in the room have any questions, most welcome to indicate, and we'll make sure they get there. But before I shift to the question, I just wanted to ask one thing, because you said, who can I surprise with a thank you today? And I thought that's a nice question. And today, who would you surprise with a thank you if you could?
So I'm actually going. My goddaughter has her graduation gathering today, and I got the invitation after I said I was going to be in the seminar. So I was like, that's a really bad day, but I'm going to her after this. So she will get all my love and congrats. And,
beautiful.
Yeah.
I like to say thank you to the drama of the world that I'm here, I'm in Stockholm, I'm in the conference, I'm sitting here sharing good points, it's very enjoyable to discuss these things and to share these things. And so I say thank you to the situation, that's like very nice. And to all of you here who are organizing all this, the technical team, the audience, the listeners, to the internet, which makes it possible. So,
yeah,
great.
Thank you for this conversation.
Yeah.
Can I just say one thing?
Yes.
Sonja and I, we spoke before this, and you said, I love to formulate good questions, and I think it's such a gift to everyone to do that. So thank you for that. Yeah.
So one question that has come in here is to you, Michael, about the SDGs were relatively powerful because all the SDGs are powerful because all countries in the UN are behind them. So do you have a collaboration to make the IDGs, the Inner Development Goals, a UN-owned initiative as well?
It's a good question. And as I mentioned, Costa Rica was the first country to adopt the Inner Development Goals. And we then and we were not going to approach countries up until this fall. It just happened. And then we said, okay, we have to do something with this, once now that this is horizon. So in March, we launched the IDG Alliance with countries that wants to adopt the Inner Development Goals. So there was Greece, there was Rwanda, there was Costa Rica, and we did this together with UNDP.
UNDP.
So we cooperate quite closely with UNDP, and Costa Rica also introduced this to the UN Assembly, General Assembly. And I think it's a strength of not being part of the UN system as well, because we don't have to be so bureaucratic. We can be fast moving and agile and flexible. Yeah.
So UNDP is United Nations Development Program.
Yes.
Yes. And I think India One has done training with those also.
Yeah, we did qualification. We did 30 workshops, and we qualified engineers on this technology and try to make it move out of our campus into India. And interestingly, we have 5,000 meditation centers in India. Brahma is quite well known, and where we teach meditation and ethics and values and many other things. And maybe 1,000 of them have adopted renewable energies. So we're quite busy all the time. Some of our brothers are going here or there and installing renewable energy systems. And then we get visitors to these centers. They see the system there, and then they also install such a solar system. So it's like a replication. It's like the ball gets rolling and it spreads slowly. And in addition, in India now also there's energy crisis. The prices are going up. So everybody's really interested in renewable energies, because India has sunshine.
So another question about the Inner Development Goals is how do you apply the Inner Development Goals and practices to business leaders who are driven by profit-driven targets?
Yeah. So I think the interesting thing is that many of these skills are also the skills that the companies need in order to be competitive.
Yes.
As I mentioned, trust. You have to develop trust to be an effective team. Intercultural competence, you have to do that in order to operate in different continents. So we find it, and that's why also so many companies have been interested in this, because they feel that we need these skills in order to be competitive, but also we have to provide these skills to be attractive employer. And so they have been very, very engaged. And then if the question is how do you apply it, what we do is to do self-assessment both on an individual level and on an organization level to see where am I strong, where am I weak. And then once you have that, then you could tailor-made what is the interventions that we need to do.
It's like an audit for yourself.
Yeah. And I think maybe then it becomes a Trojan horse, starting with this rather than saying, you should not be driven by profit. Then you can say, okay, how can we do good while still being profitable? Because that's what the business has to be to survive and thrive.
And then I have a question here about meditation. And someone is saying meditation, to my understanding and experience, should mean not doing anything in meditation, just being in silence. So how would you comment that?
You can be in silence and see what inspiration comes up or more inspiration comes up. Silence is a very powerful state of mind because it can open inner doors also. It's very, very powerful. But in meditation also you can visualize future developments. You can visualize other people who are in need of vibration or of help. You can visualize projects, can visualize your own future. Sometimes in meditation, I project what I'm planning in the day or where I'm going. And I sort of have an ideal day. And so I try to visualize that if I travel, okay, everything will go smoothly, everything happens like this, and everything will be okay and all right. And quite often it happens like that. So I don't think that meditation necessarily has to be always silence or stillness. It can be, and it can be very powerful, but it can be also guided thoughts, guided powerful thoughts, because there's also a big strength in these thoughts. They have a magic to become real. If you evoke the emotion of love, or you evoke the emotion of peace, and then you project it outside, it's very, very powerful state of mind, So I like to play in my mind with various things, but silence is also very nice.
No, I would second that. For me, I mean, Sufism has so many practices, and some are super active, like Sufi whirling, where you're dancing, where you do a walking meditation. And when it's been very hectic, it's happening a lot within development goals. I find that one of the most rewarding things is just to sit in silence. But for me, it's very much about what is my need at that particular time. So I would welcome silence. I would limit myself to it.
So we will soon have a guided meditation here to this program, and but I thought I'll let you have a final comment, whatever you want, anything you want to say, you want to add. So you can have your own final comment, and then we have a guided meditation. Yeah, anything?
Nothing to worry. Everything will become good.
I think we said a lot of stuff. I feel the need to add anything.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful. All right. Is this a good moment to move on to meditation then?
Yes.
I say thank you very much for this conversation. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
And you're sort of matching well together, aren't you, with your understanding of the world?
I do the Indian head check.
That can be both yes and no.
It's meant as a yes.
Yes. So we're not allowed to give you a clap today, so I will not do that. But I will thank you very much for this conversation.
Thank you.
And for coming here and giving time during the busy conference time and family time, etc., and sharing your inner secrets and your inner magic. You said to allow space for magic. So that's beautiful. And then I'll invite Lotta Arbman. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I will invite Lotta Arbman to come here. Lotta Arbman, she's the director or coordinator of Brahma Kumaris here in Sweden, Stockholm, and she's the secretary of Spirit of Humanity Forum, which also is a partner to Brahma Kumaris and to Inner Development Goals. So welcome, Lotta.
Thank you very much, Sonja. And thank you for a very nice and inspiring program. I got many thoughts about meditation while listening to this. And I was thinking where to start, where to finish. But I think even the title in itself about, to connect. What is the title of the program?
How can a shift in mindset?
Yeah, shift in mindset. Where do we make that shift? And when we live in a time like this, when we feel the urgency and the crisis, and we go to a conference where everyone is saying it's too late, and we have to act now, it's very easy to end up in that tight corner where you want to act very quickly. And when we try to act very quickly, we just go by the old thinking. It's very difficult to think new. And so to make a shift of mind, it's really about not doing anything when you feel this urgency. So when we feel this urgency that we are in now, then to sit and not do anything can, for some people, be very challenging. And for some, they feel that not doing anything means not caring. But to experience a shift in mind, it starts with going into silence. And it was said in the beginning to take a step away from myself. And it can be seen like that. It's like take a step backwards instead of taking a step forward. So I will do a very simple guided meditation, and I hope you can just listen to that like you listen to a book and you listen to the sound of the book, and just follow. And if you want to close your eyes, please do that, or if you want to just rest them somewhere in front of you, you can do. So first of all, just allow yourself to become present. Just allow yourself to feel that you are sitting on this chair, in the room where you are sitting, and feel the ground under your feet. And come back to the present. Whatever is going on in your life at this time, let it go on. But you withdraw at this time. Withdraw from whatever is going on, all your concerns and responsibilities. Leave them to one side. Turn your mind within. And just sense your own presence. And taking a step away from yourself actually means to take a step away from your roles, your daily identities. You withdraw yourself from those concerns, and you allow yourself to forget your nationality, your name, your age, your sex. Come back to the experience of just being energy. Living, conscious energy. And you can imagine your body to be like a tall building. And that you are in a room on the top floor of this building. And you're looking out through the windows of your eyes. And in this room, everything is very peaceful and comfortable. And outside, the world is still spinning. And as you center yourself, connecting to your inner self, you can feel the silence between your thoughts. And it's not a silence that is empty or scary. It's a sweet, healing silence. And this silence is like a portal which connects you to everyone else in the world. It's a spiritual connection to all living beings. And you connect to their core, which is also silence, harmony, and peace. You can imagine behind all the living creation is the spiritual sun. You feel connected to that sun. You can sense how the silent power of love and light travels from this sun. It reaches you and travels out in the whole network of living beings. And you allow yourself to just be a conduit, an instrument of healing and reharmonizing. I don't need to do anything more. I become myself, my inner self, connect with others as spiritual beings. I feel the spiritual sun reaching me. And out to the whole network of life. And then I just hold this feeling as long as possible as I return back into action.